So reaction to the planned Islamic Center are varied and strong, and our next guests are ready to give their opinions about this firestorm of debate that is continue to brew. Ahmed El-Madawi is the head of the Hoda Islamic Center in Gainesville, Florida. Good to see you. Hussein Rashid is an expert on Islam and Muslim cultures. He's joining me from, where are you exactly? From Toronto. And joining me here in Atlanta, Melody Moisey. She's the executive director of the nonprofit group 100 People of Faith. Good to see all of you. She's also the author of War on Terror. Error. Okay, War on Error, Real Stories of American Muslims. I almost thought that was a typo there. Sorry about that. Welcome to all of you.
Thank you. Okay,
well, Melody, let me begin with you because you're right here in front of me. So is at issue the center, its location, or is at issue the tolerance and acceptance of Islam in this country?
I think what really is at issue, it's a constitutional issue. This is a First Amendment issue. I understand that Islam...
In what way?
This is a matter of freedom of religion, that we would be letting the terrorists win if we said we won't freely allow Muslims to build an Islamic center close to 2 blocks from Ground Zero. There's already an Islamic center, as Mayor Bloomberg rightly pointed out, there's already an Islamic center 4 blocks from Ground Zero. Now, what are we going to do? 10 blocks, you can't build it. This is a matter of freedom of religion, and the truth is, at a certain period of time, we thought Jews and blacks and other groups and Catholics, you know, didn't deserve the rights that all Americans deserve. Right now, Muslims are suffering from that kind of Islamophobia, but I believe Americans are stronger than that, smarter than that, and eventually we will rise above that.
So in a moment, I do want to get to that word, Islamophobia, and if we are in a state of that. Ahmed El-Madawi in Florida, you apparently disagree, is my understanding, as to whether it is appropriate, whether it is indeed an issue of freedom of expression, freedom of religion, for this Islamic center to be poised where it is proposed to be in Ground Zero. Is that correct?
My views are really basically and fundamentally aligned with our constitution rights and the campaign lately between the two sides, which I'm a Muslim and I lead the Muslims in Gainesville, or one of the leaders of the Muslims in Gainesville, Florida. The views of Muslims now are, if we give in to very tiny minority of burning the Quran or asking for moving of a center, it is, to me, burning of the Quran stopped, and Terry Jones will be invited to our mosque. And in Gainesville, we know how to make our country and our society abide by the law and the Constitution. The question really is, why are Muslims sticking with a plan of one center rather than sticking to the demand that this activity, trying to make Muslims second-class citizens, is the issue? The fear in the Muslim communities now that Islam in America is under attack. And they fear what happened in Bosnia prior to the Bosnian War, what happened in Germany prior to the Holocaust. They fear that this tiny little minority can take America away from its road of decency, equal rights for all citizens, abide by the Constitution, and for the first time in my 42 years in America, I don't know what to tell my grandchildren about respect to the Constitution based on great leaders of ours stating statements and websites that say, do not admit Muslims to America, do not build Islamic centers in America. So my views were not one side, it is rather preserve the Constitution to all American citizens.
So let me bring in Hussein Rashid in Toronto then. Are you in agreement then to acquiesce, agree with protesters, those who don't like the idea of this Islamic center being so close to Ground Zero, that instead encourages this Islamophobia that encourages a defeat of this very argument of freedom of religion?
I don't want to come out against anybody. That I don't want to be against anybody. I want to be for the Constitution. And I think I agree with Melody on this. There is a constitutional and moral right for that center to be there. There is a community there of Muslims and non-Muslims that needs to be serviced. And that this project, Park 51, is an attempt to be a community center to do that. My issue is that I don't think that the Park 51 team has done a very good job in reaching out and explaining what it is they're trying to do. That they haven't done a very good job in presenting their needs assessment, and they haven't done a very good job in building the support in Lower Manhattan from both Muslims and non-Muslims to get behind the project.
Okay.
And I think it's dangerous to say that just because I support the constitutional right and I support the moral right means that I also support the center. I think those are two separate issues.
So, Melody, is there Islamophobia? And if so, at what point did that flame get sparked here in this country?
Certainly, there's Islamophobia. That's the reason I wrote my first book.
Yeah, let me let Melody have her moment here, and then I'll get to you in a second.
I would agree that there's Islamophobia, but as I said before, I think Americans really are smart, and I think through education, they can learn and rise above it. I have traveled all over this country, speaking at universities, churches, synagogues, all over the place. And I can tell you, just when people learn and meet different Muslims and see that we don't look like you think we look, we don't sound like you think we sound, and that we are Americans, that they have different perceptions. So I think Americans, we will get past this. Right now, there were periods of times, like I said, that we discriminated against a lot of other groups, and we have gotten past that. Unfortunately, Muslims, gays, a lot of other people are still subject to a lot of discrimination in this country, and I, as a young person, am hoping at some point that will end.
So, Ahmed, I know you wanted to get a word in. Let me allow you to express your thoughts right now. And at the same time, at the end of Ramadan here, and we're hearing from a number of Muslims in this country who are saying they're reticent, they're a bit afraid to even acknowledge the rituals of their religion right now openly because they're afraid that they are going to be targeted as a result of this Islamophobia. Can you comment on that as well?
Yes, America is the greatest land, the greatest system that man has ever created on earth. We shall preserve that. And the fear in the hearts of Muslims is not fear for their safety because the society is very safe. It is the fact that we are sliding with some politicians taking advantage of the discussion between the right and the left to develop extremists. And we are against extremists. As President Obama said, we are not in war with Islam. We are not in war with Muslims. We are in war with the people that killed our people on 9/11. More than 2,700 people were killed, including more than 30 Muslims. We have Muslims in the military. We have Muslims generals. We have Muslims with Nobel Prize winners. We have Muslims in America that do everything every day. As for the mosque in New York, or the center in New York, I do agree with the gentleman that spoke and said that it was not handled correctly. I agree that financial side of it has not been totally explored, that the elements of a small minority of Muslims in America should take care of the major issue of making America equal for all. We're not going back to the 50s and 60s where the war of internal discussion. Now we are one unit under God. We respect the rights of our neighbors, and we declare that Muslims are integrated fully into this society and participating fully, and their rights must be kept, and the fear that is thrown in their hearts. No Muslim immigration to America, no building of Islamic Center must be denounced by all sides of politicians, including the right, the center, and the left.
Okay, Ahmed El-Madawi joining us from Florida, Hussein Rashid in Toronto, and Melody Moisey. Thanks so much here in Atlanta. We're out of time, but thanks very much for all of you and your availability and express thoughts on this issue. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.